Again, working with Mike Beech here for a heavyweight for distance throw. Mike's a bit of a smaller guy, so the heavyweight's always going to be a bit of a pain. The closer you get to 250, kind of the easier the heavyweight gets. So, but you do with what you can. Even just starting from the wind, one of the things I like to see is here, I would like to see the weight dip a little bit lower so that you start feeling accelerating it with your hips, even from the beginning. Just that rock and get it going. Now his cast is pretty good, and he gets down. I know a lot of people try to teach that the feet ought to be lined up, kind of perpendicular to the trig. I personally, thought that was the case, but I've also noticed that most of my throws, and even the big throws, I'm landing really loaded with, the left foot and the hips kind of closed off to the trig, but landing to where I can start driving the weight from here down to 6 o'clock. And as he pushes it through, it's pretty good. He actually hits that 6 o'clock position, and that's the low point is right behind him. Where he's not doing is he's already turning instead of driving toward the trig off that right leg. It's really a hard lunge and push off of that right foot right there. Extend the hips and push yourself toward the trig as quickly as you can. He comes around really well in the air and gets the feet down quick to start applying force again. And from there, he really starts. He lifts a little early on the right foot instead of turning the right knee. It's the same problem everybody's got, is they just go to start lunging and leaning against it instead of driving the hip through. I mean, the weight's past the hip here, where instead that hip should be, facing out to the trig. But it has stopped here, so now it's just going to lift up onto the left side and then out. He does a really, really good job of the left foot staying strong and the block being the finish and everything pushing around that instead of the left moving back. That's one of the toughest things to do, is finishing hard and everything transferring into the implement. I think he does a pretty good job of it. The biggest issue is that he's under 250 pounds. There's only so much you can do leverage-wise against an implement of that size. Other than those couple little things, really just the finish of being a little lower and maybe turning the right foot in harder and lifting a little bit harder at the finish. I think it's pretty good. I just think you need a lot more of them to keep building that specific strength to get it all together.